Today we're talking about bar graphs. Our objective is I can interpret data from bar graphs. You can see a few of my favorite bars right here. Candy bars. Bar graphs, our definition of bar graphs are they compare categories of data. Bar graphs are used to compare categories of data. Our bar graph is made up of a title on the top, and then we have a y-axis, which is going vertical up and down here. So here's our y-axis, and we have our x-axis. Okay? Both of these axes will then have a label to them. We have information on each sides of those that give them the information about what the bars are for, and then how tall and how long the bars are. Look at some examples of different bar graphs. So here's a bar graph for our favorite fruit. You see they have a title up top. They have on each of the axes, they have them labeled. This one's labeled with pictures on the bottom, on the x-axis, and on the y-axis you have the numbers identifying how many people like each of the fruits. Okay. We can look at here then and try to figure out how many people like, bananas. So we go over to the banana, we can go up our bar, we can go back across here. We can see, be careful here, the one goes kind of up. It's kind of right on the lines. You can see these numbers are going up at the angle. So that line would be not 7.5, that's the 7. And that line is the 7. It's the seventh box up there. It's the top of the number 7. Which fruit is the favorite? We just look for the tallest bar here. You can see that the strawberry bar here is the tallest. That is the favorite. Which fruit is the least favorite? We're obviously then looking for the smallest here. Looks like over here, this would be a pear. What is the least favorite? It's the shortest box, only 2 boxes tall. Okay. Most time you see bar graphs set up like this, where the bars are going vertical, up and down. Sometimes we do see bar graphs where the bars are going horizontal. It's the same information, they just represent it a different way. So this one's how long animals can hold their breath. So we have 3 animals here on the sides: whales, dolphins, and seals. Right? And then on the side here we have the numbers. And this one is in numbers, number of minutes. Label what those numbers are. These are number of minutes. So you can see here, looking at this information, just like if it was vertical, you can see the whales can hold their breath the longest, right? It looks like right here between 18 and 20, which would be at about 19 minutes. Right? It would be about 19 minutes. It's right between the two of them. You can come over and watch dolphins, figure out how long they hold their breath. They hold their breath right here, which would be at 12 minutes. Seals, right, they're between 8 and 6, so at 7 minutes. This information here should be fairly easy to see, even if it is going horizontal, right? You turn the graph here to go vertical. Just so you can see going up. It's the same data, you just have to turn the other way, right? If we flip our graph around here, stuff's going a little sideways here. But you can see it's the same information. It's presenting the same data. Whales do not hold their breath any longer or shorter. It's just shown in a different way. Other types of bar graphs we have are what we call double bar graphs. These ones are double bar graphs because they have 2 bars for every category. So here's the annual attendance at our national parks, or at 4 of our national parks. So we have the national parks down here listed, labeled: Grand Canyon, Grand Teton, Olympic, and Yellowstone. And then on the side, it's the attendance in, be careful, it's not just half a person, this is in millions, right? It's in millions. So this 0.5 is half a million. 1 is not 1 person going to the park, that's 1 million people going to the park. The attendance in millions. Obviously it would be very hard to go from 1 and count all the way up to a million on a graph. You can also see here the numbers are going up by halves, right? We don't always have to go up by 1s. We can go up by larger amounts, we can go up by smaller amounts. As we look at this here, one thing we'll notice when you have a double bar graph, when you have more than one bar, you have to have a key. You have to tell us what those two bars represent. So over here we have a key, and we can see that the light blue is 1990, so that's the attendance in 1990. This grayish color is then 2000, so we can kind of see the difference between the attendance in 1990 and 2000. If we go over and look at the Grand Canyon National Park over here, you can see that in 1990, the light blue is right there, somewhere between 3.5 and 4.0. So maybe 3.7, 3.8. Okay. The gray one here in 2000 looks like it's about at 3 or 4.5 million people. So you can see then the difference comparing not just one park to another park, but in a double bar graph, we compare the Grand Canyon in 1990 to the Grand Canyon in 2000. So we can also see, obviously, the Grand Canyon is the most popular of all the parks, but it got more popular in those 10 years, right? You can see that it increased here. It went up between 1990 and 2000. Right? Over 500,000 people more visited. We get asked questions like, which park had the greatest increase from 1990 to the year 2000? So now we're looking for which one of these is the biggest jump from 1990 to 2000. These ones are about the same. You can see right here is the farthest distance between the two of them, right? It has the farthest distance. So the Grand Tetons had the greatest increase in attendance. They had the greatest increase. Well, the Grand Canyon has the most attendance. They had the biggest increase. Which one had the, stayed about the same? Yellowstone here stayed almost completely the same. The same amount in both 1990 and in 2000. Here, not even we have double, this is almost a triple bar graph here if you want to think of it that way. We have 3 bars for each one, right? We have our key up here, letting us know that the blue is elementary, the red is high school, the green is college. We're talking about school spending spree. How money is spent by different students, different types of students. So you can see elementary students, the blue, they spend a lot on clothes. 66% of the school money they spend at the beginning of the year for school is spent on clothes. While they only spend 1% on software, on computer stuff. College-age kids don't spend very much on clothes. Look, they're only at 33%. Only 33% of their money is spent on clothes. It's half of what the elementary kids spend on clothes. But they spend a lot more on textbooks than anyone else. They spend a lot more on technology and a lot more on the other. You see their money spent different ways. And we can go through this data and just kind of see some of the trends between them. Why might college kids not spend as much on clothes than elementary kids? One reason might be elementary kids aren't growing their clothes. By the time you get to college, you stop growing, you can wear the same clothes year after year. More so than if you're in elementary and you're growing inches at a time. Your jeans no longer fit because they're too short. All right, on to our questions. Once again, these questions are going to be posted here in the video. You'll use the questions here to answer and put your answers in the column on the right. Those of you guys who are watching this on DVD, you can just simply write your answers down on your paper and bring that paper in for me. This bar graph shows the eye color, and I don't know why they use the U and I copied it right off the internet here, eye colors of a group of children. Question number 1. Which eye color do most children have? A, green, B, blue, C, brown, D, gray. You can make your choice on the right. If you need more time to look at the graph, go ahead and just pause the video as I move forward. Number 2, how many children have brown eyes? A, 2, B, 3, C, 4, D, 11. And number 3, how many children are there in total? find the total amount of children here surveyed. How many children did they look at? We will then briefly discuss bar graphs when you guys get to class tomorrow. If you have any questions, you guys can ask them then. Make sure you've answered your questions online or have them answered on paper and bring them to class. I'll see you then.